1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue and thought he found India. Oops. But what if history hit the remix button? What if Columbus didn't make it first? What if, instead, someone else, someone powerful, organized, and noodle-savvy, reached the Americas before Europe even figured out how to draw decent maps? Yep, we're talking China, specifically the Ming Dynasty, the superpower of the early 1400s. In the early 15th century, while Europe was busy arguing about flat Earths and whether bathing was healthy, China was running the world's first global flex. Massive cities, advanced science, killer cuisine, and a civil service system that required more studying than 5 college majors combined. Enter Admiral Zheng He, the real-life boss of the seas. Zheng He wasn't just sailing boats. He was commanding floating cities. Over 300 ships, some over 400 feet long. To put that in perspective, Columbus's Santa Maria was basically a glorified rowboat by comparison. Between 1405 and 1433, Zheng He led 7 epic voyages. He sailed to India, the Arabian Peninsula, East Africa, trading, gifting, and showing off China's power. The goal? Diplomatic ties, trade relations, and a bit of subtle flexing. China didn't want to conquer. They wanted to impress. But then, plot twist. After Zheng He died, the Ming Dynasty decided, "Hey, we've seen enough. Let's burn the fleet and lock the doors." But here's the twist. What if they didn't stop? What if on one of those voyages Zheng He turned east and hit the Americas? Let's say it's 1421. Zheng He survives wild storms, stubborn crew members, and Kraken rumors. And then, land ho, he makes it to Mexico. Not just before Columbus, before Europe even figures out longitude. Imagine it. Ming China rolls into a flourishing civilization. The Aztecs, the Maya, the Inca. Advanced in their own right, with complex cities, calendars, and architecture that still baffles modern minds. What happens next? Option 1. Cultural meltdown. Option 2. Peaceful exchange of scrolls and spices. Option 3. Giant trans-Pacific potlucks and invention festivals. Unlike Europe, China wasn't big on colonization. They didn't want to conquer. They wanted to trade, influence, maybe teach calligraphy. So maybe instead of war and disease, we get cooperation? The birth of the Trans-Pacific League of Awesome trademark. Ming merchants sipping maize wine. Aztec warriors rocking silk tunics. Chinese astronomers trading stargazing secrets with Mayan priests. Now let's mess with the timeline. Spain and Portugal show up a few decades later, expecting to claim land and gold. But instead, find advanced alliances, multilingual civilizations, and dumpling tacos. Without European colonization, there's no massive transatlantic slave trade, no sugar plantations, no Wild West. And without that brutal exploitation pipeline, history unfolds differently. Gunpowder from China meets Mayan astronomy and Incan engineering. The result? Smartphones in the 1600s, paper money across the Americas, a potential industrial revolution in Cusco instead of London. What's the global language? Maybe not English. Instead, we get a Mandarin-Nahuatl hybrid. Latin dies out, French never becomes cool, and Shakespeare writing haikus. Hollywood? Nope. We get Dragonwood, epic opera films filmed on floating lotus sets. And the global pop star? Some Aztec Ming fusion girl group called Celestial Spice. Now let's zoom out for a second. Could China have pulled this off? Technologically, yes. They had the ships, the maps, the navigation skills. But politically, the Ming court feared outside influence. They turned inward. Bureaucrats shredded exploration budgets and declared, "We're good at home." Turns out, history isn't always about who could, but who dared. While China had the tools, they lacked the will. Europe? They had smaller ships, riskier maps, and frankly worse food. But they had ambition. And ambition rewrote the map. So what do you think? Would the world have been better with dragons in America and dumplings in Machu Picchu? Or was Columbus's oopsie, and all that came after, just destiny? Tell us in the comments. Should the Aztecs have invented smartphones? Would you rather learn Nahuatl than English? Want more alternate timelines? Smash that like button like a Ming gong. Subscribe for more brain-bending history what-ifs. And remember, the past isn't fixed. It's waiting to be remixed.